Nigel Farage is one of the best things about GB News. You can see his show on Flash each and every day here at flashnews.com.au, and he joins us each and every week here exclusively on Paul Murray Live. The Brexit leader joins us now from London. We're great, man. You're always at the forefront of the reality of the climate situation, and the reality is that China needs an awful lot of coal from places like Australia.
Absolutely, China does. And China and India, between them this year, will burn, wait for it, 4 billion tonnes of coal. I mean, the number's so big, we can't even get our heads round it. And we think that if we turn the air conditioning off for 20 minutes or buy a smaller car, somehow we're going to save the Earth. The amount of CO2 Australia produces is irrelevant. The same applies to the United Kingdom. And the other thing we're all forgetting, apart from the CO2 being emitted by China, India, countries like that, is that most carbon dioxide that is produced every year is not produced by mankind. The vast majority comes from volcanoes, happens naturally anyway. And we are getting ourselves into the most awful mess. I mean, if you want a warning for the future, have a look at Germany. Isn't it great? They're going to have rationing this winter, and many people are being told they may only have hot water for 1 hour a day. As Bild, the German newspaper, said a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't even as bad as this in 1945. So you can go green if you want to, but please don't expect heating, hot water, modern living, flights or anything else. And what these green maniacs are trying to do is drag us back to the Middle Ages.
Of course, all of the people who make billions of dollars out of this, they have all of those things. All of the politicians that make these decisions, they have all of those things. It's just everyone watching this program or watching yours, the suburban people, the people who, just shut up and pay taxes. They're the ones that end up getting screwed over. Now, the Commonwealth Games up in a couple of weeks. It'll be in Birmingham. Now, of course, the Commonwealth Games is the sporting celebration of the Commonwealth, which, of course, used to be called the British Empire, and colonisation will now become a major feature of the ones in Birmingham this year. So the old Empire Games, now Commonwealth Games, will now have to atone for its past, my friend. What are they going to do?
Oh, yes, there'll be all sorts of demonstrations, and it'll be all about diversity. Well, I tell you what, actually, you know something? The spreading of the English language, the spreading of Christianity, the spreading of better medicine, actually, you know what? If you look, we're the only country in the world that had an empire and still has a fantastic relationship with it. That's why these Commonwealth Games are happening. The French, the Belgians, the Spanish, dare one even mention the Germans, their relationships with their former colonies are dreadful. So whilst we may not approve of everything that was done in the past, the fact is the British Empire actually did a lot of good. Now, I know this is unfashionable, but I don't believe that the UK should apologise for the past. We should celebrate the fact that all of us are together in the here and now and for the future. And I'm sort of waiting for this opening ceremony with some sense of foreboding and dread.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here. When Charles becomes king, I reckon that there will be some sort of dissolution, if you will, of the Commonwealth in and of itself. It'll come back as something else. You'll see what happens, but he's already done the preemptive sorry tour here. It'll be sad to see, but I think that's what's going to happen. All right, last one here, of course, the race for the new Conservative leader, thus Prime Minister of the UK. And one of the blokes, the former Treasurer, the former Chancellor, he's quoting you in his ads. Roll the tape.
To almost 29,000.
This is complete
254 people crossed the channel on Sunday.
227.
I didn't know that you were Rishi Sunak, man.
Well, I'm not. But not only did he appropriate me in that video, but he then the next day, as a devout teetotaler, went down to a pub wearing a wax jacket. It looked brand new. He'd obviously never worn one before. And he pulled a pint and he looked round the pub and gave a thumbs up to all the lads in there having a drink. I mean, you couldn't invent it. It shows you he is a career politician, a total and utter fraud. But I suppose if they all want to become a Nigel Farage tribute act, well, I guess it's flattering in some way.
That's only fair. If only the real life thing could run again in a couple of years' time. Until then, plenty to talk about with you on this program and on your own. Thank you so much, great man.